Got it. Finally. My goodness.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah,
So
sorry.
which game did you want to look at first?
Well, honestly, the third game, the game 3 on Abyssal Reef, that one is probably the better game, but it's also longer. I mean, obviously we'll fast forward through it, but both of them are pretty indicative of how TvZs go for me when I lose. So,
Alright, let's just do game 3.
alright, great.
So open it, let me know when it's open, you're at 0-0.
Okay. How have you been?
Good. Been settling in. Moving has been a lot of work.
You already like get plugged into the gaming community or the board game community out there?
Kind of, except I don't actually really like the average person that plays board games, so I like find my own people to play with.
Yeah, well, no explanation necessary there. But by the way, Natalia says hi to you guys. So
Cool. Are you at 0-0?
yes, just loaded right now, so I'm good to go.
Time speed.
I'm sorry, what was that?
4 times speed.
Got it. All right, go.
And then hit no. On 3, 2, 1, we're gonna hit play. So 3,
All right.
2, 1, play. So even though the replay is long, I don't expect we're gonna watch all of it. Probably like once we're partway through, I'll have enough.
I mean, basically, my TvZ problems boil down to, I guess you could say, two components, and that's versus Hydra. So anything dealing with Hydras is just really hard for me. And then secondly, once it gets to the late game stage with lots of Hive Tech out, so whether it's Broodlords versus the tanks that I acquired in attempting to fight the Hydras, or whether it's even Vipers, just to Blinding Cloud the tanks, whatever the case may be, that super late game stage is just brutal. And this game has both, so.
Cool. Great. Let's go to 2 times speed on 3, 2, 1, 2 times.
Alright. I am playing an antiquated opening, but I just haven't found anything else that really lets me get out on the map and threaten the Zerg like the 2-1-1. I every once in a while I'll go with just a generic Hellion Banshee fast third command center, but I just don't feel as though it allows me to threaten the Zerg or scare them in any way, so I still prefer the 2-1-1.
Sure. This build will probably keep working for another few hundred MMR anyway.
Alright, sweet.
I felt like it's kind of lost its oomph around maybe 53 or 54, maybe even a little higher than that.
Okay. So you've used it yourself extensively, or?
Yeah, I did it a whole bunch the last time earlier this year.
Yeah, I peaked up at 50-22, and then I lost 370 MMR in 2 days. So.
Okay. So. Alright, let's pause.
Okay.
Pause. So. One thing is, I like to have a rule: if you lose 3 games in a row, you take a break.
Okay.
And if you tell yourself you're going to do that ahead of time, it prevents you from wasting your time by just playing when you're tilted.
That's a really good idea.
And basically, like, yeah, you can get unlucky and lose 3 games in a row to some bullshit, but usually if that happens, it's because you're not playing well. Either you're distracted or tired or whatever. And in those cases, it's just a better use of your time to do something else, to go rest, to go eat food, to go for a walk, do whatever it is that you need, rather than just play games and lose and feel terrible about it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And by the way, yeah, so as usual, I'm writing this stuff down, so if you hear me typing away, that's what's going on.
So that's kind of the first thing, just outside of the game. Changing that mindset, I think, will help. In the game, so drones or queens, that's good. Obviously, he made a lot of zerglings. And do something with this push.
Okay.
So, like, even if it's just killing creep tumors, like, kind of in that top right area where he's got the creeps kind of pushing up to the ramp.
Yeah.
If you can kill like 3-ish tumors in that area to reduce some of the vision he has around there, that's good. And then when all the zerglings come, you pick up and you can go, I mean, kind of going where you're going to the left side, but doing that earlier.
Okay. So sort of just polish up the execution here. And is my objective then, once I bring that third medevac up, my objective is still going to be to just clear creep, pull him off of creep with his lings and get a favorable trade if possible, but if not, just picking up and backing away.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Like, the first thing you always want to kill is drones. If you can't kill drones, then killing queens is really good, because it's very annoying as a Zerg player to lose your queens. And then if you can't kill queens, you're basically, or drones, and you're basically just clear tumors. Kill his overlords on the map. Kill his tumors, because right now if you look at his vision, he feels very safe in general, because he's got so much vision around each of his bases. He has a lot of reaction time. And the one place he doesn't have much vision, he's got a ton of lings there, so he still feels pretty safe.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. So then this is all a setup for what eventually should be a push, right? I mean, I'm denying vision, and then theoretically I want to abuse the fact that he doesn't have vision since I've cleared it, and then push. What, I guess, should I be looking for a pre-Hydra push? Since this game here is very typical, should I be looking for like a 1-1 push before he gets Hydras out? Should I just be annoying up until I get like 2-2 and like 160, 180 supply or something, and then push against his Hydras? What should my goal be? What should I be clearing the map for?
So the thing is, there's a lot of ways he can transition. So right now he's trying to go up to 5 bases. And at some point he's going to need to build a ton of drones. Being aggressive, you're doing a lot of indirect damage, because if you look at his third base, he's got shit for drones there. So he's basically on 2.5 bases. Like, your economies are almost even because of mules. So you want to keep pressuring with the medevacs and keeping units on the map, denying creep and things like that, and just keeping an eye on what he's doing. So if you scan and he makes 1 billion units and has no drones, then you don't need to attack him. You just back up and you play safe. But if you scan and like he's got 5 fully saturated bases and he has no army, then you need to be attacking more aggressively. So the answer is it's complicated, and it has more to do with what he's doing and your ability to scout that than it does with other things.
Okay, so all right, and that makes sense. In this case, I'm pretty sure I know about, I think, 4 of the base. Okay, no, I only know about 3, but I was assuming that he had a 4th. But let's say this is a game where he's just going 3 bases and then lair, and he's getting his Hydras out. I would probably be less aggressive with a push there, right?
Sure.
Okay.
It's it's a simple relationship. The more economic he's being, the more aggressive you want to be.
Got it.
I mean, it's not simple to execute, and it's not simple to identify, but that's what you're looking for. If you can, for example, if you scanned his third base and you see like, oh, he has no drones, then you really don't need to try and be aggressive, and you probably shouldn't, because if he's playing well, it means his economy is going into units, so he's going to have a big army.
Right.
Yeah, so then you're looking more at like a drop in the main if he tries to move out, rather than like a big push at the front.
Okay. And then I suppose, and let's assume that the game the game transpires such that I'm not able to get any sort of significant damage. He's able to get his Hydras out comfortably. Let's say all things are even into that stage of the game. Is there any sort of benchmark that I should look out for, such as in Heart of the Swarm, like the sort of magical benchmark what against a Roach Hydra composition was like 160 supply, or roughly, and 2-2. Before that, you had to play cautiously and defensively, but once you got into those higher supply counts, then you moved out. Is there something like that I should look for in an even game against a Hydra comp, like a sort of window to hit before he goes into that Hive Tech?
When he's going Hydras, is it just Ling Hydra?
Ling Hydra Bane.
Ling Bane Hydra?
Yeah, Ling Bane Hydra. It is killing me. I'm raging. I'm losing my mind. It's brutal.
is easiest if you use it kind of the same as versus Roach Hydra. So Cat Hydras, Widowmines aren't very good.
Right.
And since he's got Banelings, do like a heavy bio comp.
Mm-hmm.
So natural response is some kind of siege tanks, but siege tanks aren't good unless you get a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So in general, the best response will be a little bit of aggression with Medivacs, try and poke, put pressure on, deny expansion, stuff like that. And then when you've got 60 supply, 5 or 6 siege tanks, you push out, and
okay,
that can be accelerated based on what you scout. So it'll be important to keep an eye on: is he actually going heavy Hydras, or is he going like 10 Hydras and then going straight to Hive?
Yeah. Okay. That's really good. I'm gonna write that down. And just from my experience, most of the time, most of my opponents are going pretty heavily into Hydras. The other thing is, and this is something that's actually really tricky for me. It doesn't quite take place in this game, but sometimes the players will go with a fully committed Hydraling Bane attack, and like that to me has been really hard to identify. Like, they'll go 3 bases, get their Hydraling Bane, and they will go borderline all in at my third. And for me, it's been kind of difficult to really identify, okay, is he going to try to kill me with this, so I should maybe not move out on the map and he catches my tanks unsieged? Or is he just getting a good army and then, going to Hive off of 3 bases and using that army defensively? It's really hard for me to figure that one out.
Right. So generally speaking, if Zerg isn't ahead on bases, you're still doing okay. So if he's just sitting on the same number of bases as you are and massing units, there's eventually some urgency to move out, but it's not really until you're maxed out or close to maxed.
Okay.
It's like almost regardless of what he's doing.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions. So like if Zerg is, let's say they go 3 bases, you're on 3 bases, and they just don't make units, and they're just teching really hard,
right?
Then you want to identify that, but it's a pretty unusual style. Most people will either, if they're on the same base count, they're either all-inning you or they're playing like super safe.
Right.
And in either case, you basically don't want to move out with your main army until you have a lot of supply.
Okay. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but theoretically anyway, if I'm maxed out with decent macro, if I max out, there should be a brief opportunity anyway to hit him prior to any serious Hive tech being on the field, unless he's rushing Hive, obviously. But like if he's going with a standard, let's say like 4 base Hydraling Bane, using it relatively for defensive purposes, not committing to anything, and I'm just macroing up, being annoying with my drops, such as in this game, I should be able to max out and get across the map before he has ultras with chitinous plating or broodlords or something like that.
Yeah, that is likely to be true. The main thing is it's a very, very complicated problem. You're talking about what has happened in the game so far, and there's so many little decisions and macro mistakes or macro good things that each player can do to offset that. Like, you could play against someone who's who's a lot better than you are, and it will feel like there was never any opportunity to attack them because of how cleanly they transition and tech.
Right. Yeah, I think one of my biggest problems right now with playing, so like when I played against Lingbane Muta, I'm still, like, to this day, I'm pretty darn confident in my ability to play against Lingbane Muta. It totally makes sense to me, generally speaking. Macro multitasking mechanics and micro in the engagements, all those things are really important. Just RTS fundamentals. I know my way around 4M versus LBM matchup. When it comes to the Hydra comps, I feel a lot of times like every decision I make is wrong with respect to if I move out and try to attack him, I get surrounded with my tanks unsieged, and oh, it was wrong, I should have defended. When I sit back and defend, they'll get up to Hive, and when I move out, it's too late, so it's like, oh, I should have attacked. I have this, I've just got this issue where it feels like I just don't really know my way around the matchup. That's why I'm kind of like desperate for these general rules, I guess, these benchmarks, so I can say, sort of look for markers in the match, and then I guess use them as triggers to make the right decision. But as you're saying, it's it's really complicated. So
part of this here is it might be you're just not moving out correctly. Like, very hard to use, and they're one of the units that has the highest variance. Like if you use them well versus use them poorly, the fight looks totally different. So
right.
That moving out is the wrong decision in a lot of your games. It might just be that you're not moving out in a way that's safe. So you're getting caught unaware, whereas if your tanks were ready and you were in position, you would have been able to take the fight without any trouble.
So basically, I should be, when moving out, especially against this composition, or I should say, especially when using siege tanks.
Yeah, it's really just siege tanks.
Okay, yeah, I have to make sure I'm like 100% on top of my army. Hit my macros, like my supply depots, whatever, prior to moving out, and when I leave my base, my screen has to be dedicated to where those siege tanks are.
So, kind of, but you don't have to make it so hard on yourself. So, like, let's say your army is leaving your base. The farthest vision you have to be your army. It's kind of feeling out the map. You want to scan, find where his army is. Like, because if you know where his army is, then you don't have to dedicate that much attention. Or if you have a Marine in 3 or 4 directions that's a screen or 2 away, then you also don't have to just watch your army, because just staring at your army is not great. And even if you're doing that and he pops out of the darkness, like, you're still not going to be in the correct position. You just need more warning.
That's a really good point, writing this one down. Got it. All right, sweet.
Let's keep watching this for a bit.
Okay.
So 2 times speed in 3, 2, 1, play. So I think the big difference between what you're doing now and what I'd like you to do is you're not putting a very high priority on killing creep tumors.
Okay.
When this push moves out, you basically want to have a scan. And each time you're dropping, like, it's worth killing a screen of tumors. That's very valuable.
Okay. Okay, that was the tech scan there. Saw Baneling Nest and saw him going up to lair.
So having just one medevac on the map doing something would be really good.
Okay, I'll write that down as well. So that was...
Just think in general, you don't, unless you are immediately threatened, you don't want your entire army to ever be at home. You want to do something with it.
Got it. So basically just try to keep one medevac out, at least one medevac out at all times to be clearing creep. Or looking for maybe an opportunity to dive into a mineral line, something like that.
So, because what you're looking at is once your army is ready, you want to be able to attack immediately. But you can't just push on, you can't just walk across this creep. It's way too dangerous.
Right.
So if you had cleared a lot of the creep ahead of time, then that makes it easier. Pause.
You say pause?
And
Okay.
to 10:30.
Okay, I'm at 10:48. Let me just back up a little bit. All right, so I'm back at 10:30.
Okay, then hit B.
B.
So
Okay.
this is a pretty good example of what to avoid doing.
Okay.
You've got your tanks kind of sitting at the front, and they get abandoned by your army.
Right. Right.
And you have no real vision. You have no idea what he's doing. So if you look at your vision, pop out of the darkness, and you have just no time to react.
Yeah.
This is part of what I'm talking about. Like it's relevant not just if you're moving across the map. It's also relevant when the creep is pushed up to your base. You don't want that to be true.
Okay, so basically, this is just a manifestation from my earlier lack of creep killing. Now, he's able to just sort of explode onto my base like this without any prior warning for me.
Which is really bad. You
Yeah.
need a reaction time to defend things properly.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, let's go 2 times speed on 3, 2, 1, play. So that's part of what happens here. And then you can see basically everything about this fight is mismanaged because you didn't have time to react.
Okay, that makes
Marines weren't
sense.
split, your tanks weren't sieged, so the baneling hits were a lot stronger than they needed to be. You lost valuable siege tanks that you didn't need to lose. And all of that comes back to you just need to have more vision of what he's doing. So you need to remove his ability to so easily move around, because the creep gives him a lot of mobility as well.
Got it, yeah.
Time where if you look at the map, a medevac would be really good right now. Just on that far left base, dropping the main, that top base. Because
Okay.
he's doing a lot of moving his whole army around as a whole.
Right.
And so if you have a medevac that's split off, you make it a lot more complicated for him.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, that's something I should be looking to incorporate throughout the game then, right?
Yeah, basically
Okay.
the whole time.
Okay.
You just won a big fight. And then it's a good time, like, no hesitation. You win the fight. If you want to scan ahead to check, that's good, but you need to just go, go, go.
Okay, yeah, I was there like pre-splitting and whatnot when I should have been flying into his base.
Or just attacking. Just kill the bases. Because, like, the sooner you kill those bases, the sooner you can come home and defend these other threats.
Right.
Creep on the right side that you can see, that's another good, like, that shouldn't be there. You want to get rid of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so he's gonna have knowledge of any attack that I try to send to those 2 bases on the right, because of that
Exactly.
creep. Okay. So I think like now finally I'm starting to incorporate more multi-pronged harassment, but this, like you were saying, this should have been going on the entire time.
Medevacs, not like two things. One, and the main. The stuff you're doing in the main is really good. Like random 8 Marines running at a base, not so good because they're likely not going to get a ton of value.
Okay.
Like a random 2 or 3 Marines, put them into a mineral line is like, it's okay. It's a little. It's basically saying like, I hope you don't have anything here. And
right.
Once they get in the mineral line, then they'll kill a few drones or whatever. Which is it's better to do that than it is to do nothing. But the medevac stuff is really what you want to be doing in general.
Okay, got it. And of course that's more stressful for him too, if I can pick up and leave. So.
Exactly. And kind of the accessory to this, and this is the hardest part, which you're doing a little bit more now, is only one thing you're doing on the map.
What do you mean by that?
Right, so at this point in the game, like early on in the game, we're talking about, maybe one medevac, or you keep all your medevacs together. That's fine.
Right.
Once you get to mid-late game, you don't ever want it to be like, the only thing you're doing on the map is pushing with your whole army, or the only thing you're doing on the map is one medevac drop.
Okay.
Like you want the medevac drop, so the 2 medevacs on the left side of the map right now, those should be at the farthest left, be at the farthest right thing you can fight. And keep them split up, so it makes it very hard, and they should happen at the same time, which is very challenging to do. Like everything will be. Something will be much more effective because he'll have to split in a way that's awkward and is difficult to do.
Right. I mean, even though it is challenging to do, but obviously like, that's something to which I need to aspire. I've got to just force myself to try doing that.
Right. Oh, that was too bad. So you can see right now, if you had attacked the right side...
Mm-hmm. Right at the time that he fungled my my medevacs on the left, you mean?
Yeah, like you saw his whole army over there. So if you
right.
if you take a moment and have that presence to say, all right, I'm going to back these medevacs up, my whole army on the right side. I'm just going to A move whatever I've got hotkey. So that's good. And better players will. So that doesn't work as well, but it's a really good habit to get into.
Okay.
What you're doing right now is really good. At the same time that you were fighting on the right, now you're fighting on the right, and that's cool. The big thing who let his economy kind of get out of control.
Yeah, kind of seeing that now. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mining bases. So even though unit-wise, you're about the same efficiency. He has just got more money, more gas, more tech. A lot of it just comes back to the early game when he went up to 5 bases kind of uncontested. And he was putting pressure on you using all of his creep and stuff, and you weren't basically forcing him to not make drones. You weren't forcing him to do something to hinder his economy as much as you needed to. Okay, so other big thing, let's not push without support.
So basically,
set up your siege, you set up your siege tanks and liberators in this really great, impossible to attack way, and then you took your entire bio army and ran it away from that, and it all died because it had no protection.
Right. Yeah, that was brutal.
These two things need to be moving together. The liberators and the siege tanks need to be part of the same army.
Got it.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough. This is a pretty good example of you kind of lost track of where his army was. Raiders weren't in position to basically be ready to fight.
Right, yeah, he swings in from behind and starts picking them off before the fight begins.
And once again, if you just get into a habit of having more feelers out and just being aware, like, if you can't see past your main army, with your main army first, you should be moving with something else.
Got it. Okay, so I guess even if I'm just, like, stimming a Marine or two ahead... Okay.
Keep a screen buffer between, like, in front of your main army.
Mm-hmm.
And that is cases to keep you safe and allow you to make good decisions.
And keep buffer between my main army and potential enemy. Got it. Okay, that's really good.
I guess the last thing here is thinking about priorities. Most important thing you can do macro-wise right now is to secure an additional base.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about either base on the right. You don't even really care about the base in the middle. To abandon those bases and just put everything at that bottom one so you could get it mining.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, those bases are mined out, so...
Put yourself in a position where you were trying to defend stuff that had no further strategic value.
Right.
At the same time, you're defending a new base. Hold on one sec. My door just rang. Pause.
Pause, okay.
Hey, are you there?
Yep.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it makes perfect sense. So I've got all this written down as well, so...
So... Don't think we need to watch the other game, because we've probably already touched on enough major points.
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you want to just play?
Yeah, yeah.
Incorporating some of this stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm going to be... It's going to be pretty overwhelming, but that's a good thing. Things like I'm going to constantly try to pick off creep, for example, with a 2-1-1. Going to constantly try to send Marines forward, send something forward, whether it's a scan, Marines, to, as you said, keep like one screen length between the potential enemy army and my own army. So I'm going to be trying to incorporate all of this stuff. So...
If you focus on those two, that's probably sufficient. Mm-hmm. Just keep vision ahead of your army so you don't get surprised, and put a higher value on clearing creep.
Got it. Higher value on clearing creep. And so, I mean, that's basically something that I will attempt to apply throughout the game, starting with the first drop, right?
And your stretch goal, one medevac out at least, as from the time you get them to the end of the game.
Got it.
A host?
All right, so I'm exiting the replay now.
I thought they changed the UI.
Yeah, they did, just with that patch a couple of days ago.
What map do you want?
Let's see. I mean, I'm cool with Abyssal. Odyssey is probably, of the maps that I don't have vetoed, Odyssey is probably the most challenging versus Zerg, just because of that gold base. So maybe that would be best.
You join off me?
No, actually I can't. I don't think I have your real ID added.
It's coaching@gmail.com.
Okay, sec. Alright, sent. Oh wait, can you say it? I think your mic is sometimes it's cutting out and I'm like missing a word. I just heard coaching at Gmail. Is that it, or was there a word in front of coaching?
QXC.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, how did you get coaching? All right.
Be a sick email.
Yeah. All right, and is it 1C or 2Cs?
QXC.coaching.
Okay, QXC.coaching. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like every once in a while, the mic's cutting out. But all right, QXC.coaching at Gmail. Got it. All right, sent. Okay, and joining. Here we go. But yeah, I mean, the last lesson we did was like a couple of months ago. Helped my my TvT. It's still statistically my worst matchup, but it went up like probably 7 or 8% after that session. So it's always a big help to me.
Hey.
Yep. So have you been gaming much yourself, or focusing more on your design?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy with a board game lately. Moving in and settling.
Mm-hmm. So, one of the ones that we were playtesting, or something totally different?
Just new stuff for Aeon's End.
Oh, okay. Oh, speaking of, I'm glad you reminded me. I need to, you said it would be in at the store in August, right?
Game. I think they have it. They have the base game there now or soon, and the expansion will probably be there in a few weeks.
Okay, cool. Would you recommend just starting with the base game, or would it be something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just starting with the base game is fine.
Additional supply depots.
I was actually playing some Codenames the other day. Been and had a hankering for the fake Tetris as well. It's a sick game.
Get a lot.
Big job, huh? Ready here. What's going on? Bandit SCV ready. What's going? SCV ready. In the rear with
Not enough minerals.
what's
Not
going
enough
on?
minerals. Not enough minerals.
What's going on?
Command center. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
In the rear with the gear.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. Ah, you scared me.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Bad news. Roger. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Are under attack. Not enough minerals.
I'm listening. Yes, from above. Fair enough. Certainly. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
SCV ready. I'm going to work. Got something for me to kill. SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
This better.
Not enough.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough.
Armed and ready. SCV ready. Go, go, go.
Not enough minerals.
Yep. Gangway.
Not enough minerals. Not enough.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. This better be good. On the way. SCV ready.
Add on.
Armed and SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
You want a piece of me, boy? Go ahead. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Gangway. SCV ready. Fear the Reaper man.
Not enough minerals.
You gonna give me orders?
Not enough.
Ready for dust off.
Armed and ready.
Light
SCV ready. You want a piece of me?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
I can't.
Not enough minerals.
This better be good. SCV ready.
Waiting on you.
Want some? SCV ready.
Where?
Go ahead.
Ready for dust off.
Insufficient dust.
Armed and ready. You gonna give me orders? SCV ready. This better be good. Big jump.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Want some?
Where's the order? Light flames here. Picking up or dropping off. Understood.
In the rear. What's going on?
Not enough minerals.
Light flames here. We
Go,
read
go, go.
you. Easy.
Oh, it's on. Go ahead. SCV ready.
Ready for dust off.
Not
Waiting on you. Ready for pickup?
SCV ready. Go, go, go.
Not enough minerals. Not enough.
This better be good.
Not enough minerals. Mineral field depleted.
We're returning fire!
SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Insufficient.
SCV ready.
Ready for dust off.
This better be good.
Talk to me.
Been waiting.
Not enough minerals.
Armed and ready.
Light.
Command center upgrade.
I can't build here. You gonna get this better.
Add-on complete.
Under.
Huh? You want a piece of me, boy?
Somebody, get me out of this mess. Where's the emergency?
Not enough minerals.
Been waiting. Go, go, go.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Armed and ready.
Mineral field. Not enough.
This better be good. You want a piece of me, boy?
Not enough minerals. enough minerals. Upgrade. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Base is under attack.
SCV ready. Want some?
Understood.
Not enough. Not enough minerals.
Go, go, go!
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
I'm on it.
Talk to me.
This better be good.
Additional supply depot.
SCV ready. We could use some help here. Gangway, coming through.
Not enough minerals. Mineral field. Not
Want some?
add-on complete.
You gonna give me or want some? SCV ready. It's go time.
Waiting on you. Light, now what?
Research complete. Not enough minerals.
Armed and ready. This better be good.
Where?
We ain't ready. Coming through. Want a piece of me, boy? Go ahead. Go, go, go. This better be good. I've been waiting on you by the numbers. Bad news? What's going on? We could use some help here.
Mineral field completed. Upgrade complete.
What? What's going on? Been waiting by the numbers. Go time. This better be good.
Inside. 5x5.
Armed and ready.
Mineral field complete.
Oh, it's on. This better be good.
Life flight's here.
You hear me? Big job, huh?
Not enough minerals. Mineral field. Not enough minerals.
Go ahead.
Wait.
By the numbers.
Talk to me.
Add-on.
Ready to roll out. This better be good. Big job, huh? Let's have a plan.
Where's
Mineral
the
field
emergency?
depleted.
Been waiting on you.
Talk to me.
Base is under attack.
Baby.
Mineral field depleted.
You gonna give me gangway.
Not enough.
It's on.
Not
Armed and ready. We could use some help here. This better be good. Ready to roll out.
unacceptable.
Oh, it's on.
Mineral field depleted.
Armed and ready.
Mineral field depleted. Upgrade complete.
Heading out.
Unacceptable. field depleted. Mineral field depleted. Unacceptable Mineral field depleted. Unacceptable Mineral field depleted.
What's going on?
Research. Mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Base is under. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals. Upgrade complete. Not enough. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
It's about to get heavy. This better be good. You gonna
Not enough. Upgrade complete. Not enough minerals.
Picking up or dropping off.
It's on.
Not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
Gateway coming through.
Not enough
Go,
minerals.
go, go, boom, baby.
Not enough minerals. Not enough. Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
You want to be
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
what's up? Let's have a play.
Ready for dust off.
Yo, this better be good.
Unacceptable command.
We could use some help here. Got a hole.
Where's the emergency?
Go on.
Wait, ready for pickup? Now what?
Brandon, we could use some help here.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
By the armed and what's up? Something in the way. Been waiting on you. You gonna get me?
Reporting for action.
This better be good. Armed and ready. By the number.
Add-on complete.
Liberation is at hand.
Hey, what's going on? Kaboom, baby!
Not enough minerals. Mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals.
What? By the in the rear. Go, go, go! Oh, it's on.
Unacceptable command. Base is under attack.
Liberation is at hand.
Not enough energy. Upgrade complete. Mineral field depleted.
Oh, it's on.
Waiting on you. Here's your stuff.
Armed and ready.
Vesting.
It's go time.
Mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough energy. Not enough energy. Not
Get heavy. Been waiting on you.
Waiting on you.
not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
Not enough.
Want some?
Not enough. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Want a piece of me, boy? Armed? You gonna give me orders? Go, go, go! This better be
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough.
gangway. Coming.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Base is under attack.
I'm in deep. You want a piece?
Not enough minerals.
What's going on? Huh? Waiting on you. Go, go. Oh, it's on.
Not enough minerals. Not enough energy.
This better be good.
Not enough. Not enough minerals.
Of course. Why not? Don't let me.
Not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
Not enough minerals.
Now what?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Command center. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Oh, it's on. It's about to get heavy.
Not enough minerals.
Been waiting on a piece of me.
Upgrade complete. Not enough minerals.
It's go time. Orders received. Go, go, go. Baby.
Not enough.
Get heavy. Gangway. Coming through.
In the 5 by 5.
Armed and ready. Big job, huh?
Not enough.
Oh, it's on.
Not enough minerals.
Baby.
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply. Unacceptable.
It's about to get heavy. Gangway. Coming through. I'm on.
Liberate.
Vesting Gaza. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Want some?
Not enough minerals.
Gangway.
Not enough minerals. Mineral.
It's go time. We could use some help here. It's about to get heavy.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Don't let me hang it. We could use some help here. Gangway.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
It's go.
Not enough.
Oh, it's on.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough.
Good job.
GG, thank you. Whew.
It's been a long time since I played Zerg.
Yeah, I remember I played your Lingbane Muta and Heart of the Swarm on Frost. It was freaking brutal. Oh, man.
This is good though. You did a good job of incorporating a lot of the stuff that we talked about.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I just kept it in my mind the whole time. Like, anytime I was just kind of chilling there, I thought, wait a minute, I should get something out on the map now. At least clear some creep, if there's an opportunity to hit a base where you're trying to expand, then I tried to take it. But I did notice, and I'm sure you noticed too, because it seemed like you sort of abused it toward the end there, but my army, like the most powerful elements of my army, the Liberators and the Siege Tanks, were just kind of parked. And that's when you ran in with the Ultra Hydra Infestor. But should I have grouped them up with my bio at that point in the game to just go for one frontal assault?
Maybe after you won one of the big fights, you could have done that, or maybe was you were parked at a place that no longer had strategic, or it still had strategic value, but it didn't have immediate resource value, so I just kind of ignored it. But like if you had kept pushing, like slow siege pushing across the bottom side, go to my third base, and then start threatening my main, then you basically are forcing the issue, which is probably what you should have done.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I just kind of noticed that, and I don't know, maybe it was laziness or what. It's like, you ever have that feeling where it's like you hope, it happens to me in chess too, and I always end up losing, but you like hope that your opponent doesn't see that tiny mistake that you're making, and it's like you're occupied with something else and you just try to get away with it. But then, yeah, I watched my army get wrecked. Fortunately, I think it just came down to me mining more, but
so good. I think if you keep working on the stuff that we talked about, that's a good start. So
yeah, let me by the way, your PayPal email is it can you just write it? Is it cold ferret?
I'll put it in the Discord.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Good job today. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks.